It's getting late, really late. You're at a party of some sort and the alcohol has been flowing. It's a time when all inhibitions are let go. A time when even the most stoic of men feel free to release. Then from the speakers, a buzuki plays, or rather, it begins to cry. Then a beat, 9/8, slow, like the dragging of feet. You know you are about to witness an event, like a breakthrough at an AA meeting where someone is about to let their soul spill forth. It is the Zeibekiko. There are two schools of thought on the origin of this iconic dance. Vasilia Lianis from the New South Wales Greek Folk Dancing Association explains.
The first one says that, yes, it originated out of Asia Minor and was a dance by the Zeibekides of Anatolia, Mikrasia, and came into Greece. The second school of thought tells us that it actually sprang out of the Rebetiko scene in Athens.
The Zeybeks were Turkish guerrilla fighters and were large in numbers in Anatolia, Nizmirni. They protected villages against tax collectors, landlords and bandits, and are spoken of proudly by Turks of today.
They would dance the Zeybek dance as a form of training because the Zeibekides of Turkey today have knives and swords, so when they dance they pull their swords out and they're holding them and moving rhythmically to the dance. So the dance that the Zeibekides were dancing was actually a karsilamas. Now the karsilama and the Zeibekiko, you can't really differentiate, right? In a lot of places you can't. So people say that, achorevi karsilama, achorevi Zeibekiko. Karsilamades do differentiate a little bit later on because there's the Aptalika karsilamades, there's karsilamades that were done with partners. And so you move away from the Zeibekiko style.
The second school of thought sees the dance as an evolution from ancient Greek times.
You have to look at the depth of the history and what the dance tells us. Now, going back into prehistory and looking at the word Zeibekikos, the etymology of the word comes from Ze, which means Zeus, and Bekos coming from the word to mean bread. And that comes from Herodotus.
Now Zeus was renowned for taking many different forms. The most common of these was the eagle. Ancient Greeks used to dance as part of their worship of their gods. And the Zeibekiko, a dance using arm movements like that of an eagle flying, was a tribute to the god Zeus.
According to legend and history, the ancient Thracians moved out of Thrace and went into what we call, northwestern Anatolia. They danced a form of the Zeybek dance, which was adapted by the Turks.
Ancient Greeks migrated to Anatolia and settled there for hundreds and hundreds of years. After the Greco-Turkish War, though, in 1923, a treaty was signed by both Greece and Turkey, whereby it was decided that there would be an exchange of all Greek Orthodox citizens living in Turkey with all Muslims living in Greece, the Andalagi, which famously forced 2 million people to become refugees. Almost 3/4 of these refugees were Anatolian Greeks. And they brought with them to Greece a lot of Turkish cultural influences which Greek composers such as Vamvakaris soaked up.
So people like Marcos Vamvakaris, who played the bouzouki and the baglama, started to fuse in the oriental sounds that they had learnt from the Mikrasiates that came over. So all these prosfiges that came over, the refugees, They were the ones that brought the sounds. And people like Marcos Vamvakaris, the composer, used those sounds. And again, going back to your original question, yeah, the modern day Zeibekiko that we see today, yes, has its root in Greece. Its basis in Greece because it's an expression, especially after the war, after the exchange of populations, people started to express themselves through it. So regardless of the roots that we talk about, from Asia Minor, and some people say Neturkiko, Alleniko, I believe that it is the essence of modern Greece in the 20th century. It is one of the only dances that I could clearly say that expresses the Greek in the 20th century.
And so much so that in 2004, Athens chose of all things the Zeibekiko to open the iconic Olympic Games.
Olympic Games, welcome back to Greece.